you do like F. There we go. It's because it's got 1% power, so it's a little wiggy. So when we do g of -5, so erase that F right there. So first thing we're doing is g of -5, you get 7. So say equals 7. And then f of 7, next step down, does not exist because there's no 7 on the x values. Still not going to work. You can think about it. So yeah, you can put D on E, you can put no solution. I don't know if she would care what you put. And then next one, you look for 3. So your answer is -2.
So then it would be like g of -2.
Yep. So g of -2, your answer, or g of 3, sorry, equals -2.
Yeah.
There we go. So if we do -7, your
And
answer
then
is
f
4.
of 2, or f of -2.
Yeah, and that also DNE, you can just write DNE for does not exist. So next we do f of -7. Or g, sorry, I said it wrong
That's
again.
okay.
G of -7
Yeah.
equals 4. And then f of 4 is 3. Okay, so you try this one and see if you get it.
Okay, so
That one,
then,
of course, doesn't exist either.
so g of 8
Yep.
equals -9. And f of -9 doesn't exist.
Does not exist.
Okay.
So given f and g state the composite function of which they belong or the value. So you generally, it's not, these directions are not clear. They generally want you to go the other way as well. So like g of f of x. So let's just try this one. So we're doing f of 2 equals
-5.
f of 2 equals -5, and then g of -5.
7.
Good. And then this one. This one works.
F of
4.
4 is 3, and then g of 3 is -2.
So then sometimes, at least in the advanced one, they make the kids state the domain and range. So if we did domain and range for this whole thing, because it was does not exist, does not exist, does not exist, the domain is only 3. And then which one worked? This one worked. So domain is, so we plugged in 7. And so that's the domain because that's the x value that worked and you got an answer, right? So your domain is only 7 out of all of this and your range is only that out of all of this. Whereas this one, the first one works. So if you're listing domain values, you list the smallest one, we don't know what it is yet, but right now it would be 2 and then the range value would be 7.
Okay.
So it's the domain and range. Domain's the first thing you put in, and the range is going through all the process, and your final output is the range value, the y value, like your answer essentially. So if we do f of 4, our answer is 3, and then g of 3 is -2. So that one works too. So if we go f of -1, answer is
7, and then that doesn't exist.
does not exist. So f of 3.
3 is 8. G of 8 is -9. So
Okay,
that works.
so more of them work. The only one that didn't work is there.
Yeah.
And then when you list domain and range, remember domain is least to greatest, so you list 2, 3, and 4.
Okay.
All 3 of those work. And then whatever the answers were, I don't remember, but
Okay.
that's basic gist of how that goes, right? You feel good on that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Once you get the process, like, because I had never done that before, and I think I was tutoring you when we were looking at that, and I was like, what the hell is that? I've
Yeah.
never seen that before. But I got to figure it out. I told you I'd figure it out. Okay, so...
What does like this mean?
there is, again, not totally clear, right? Because there's no direction. So given f and g, state the composite function which they belong or the value. So
So,
if
like-
we plug in -1,
For F.
so not totally clear, we get 7.
Mm-hmm.
And then g of 7 does not exist, so let's try it on g. So this doesn't work, right? Either way, if I do g of f or f of g, it does not work. You need, like, so if she were to give you a problem like that on the test, you'd be like, what am I doing,
supposed
f
to
of
do?
g or g of f?
Yeah.
And she should answer that question.
Yeah.
Because she generally doesn't answer questions, as you know,
Yeah.
right? Will she answer any questions during a test if you have a question?
Sometimes, but like at a certain point, she's like, I'm not answering anything else.
Okay. So what
So-
she used to do, because I remember I was a special ed teacher at Monarch like 20 years ago or
Yeah.
something, and I team taught in her class. And here's the ironic part, I don't think I've ever told you before. I modeled much of how I learned how to teach math from her.
That's funny.
Isn't that unbelievable?
Yeah.
And you're like, what, really?
Yeah.
But then obviously I grow and change over time, right?
Yeah.
And now it's obviously a lot better. What she used to do though is when kids would go up for help, she would like circle if you had a problem right here, and then you have to go back and figure it out. Does she
Okay.
do that kind of thing? No. Interesting. Okay. So g of 3. So,
Is -2.
and then
F
negative
of
2
-2 does not exist.
does not exist. And that just throws you, right? So on
Yeah.
the test, you're like, oh crap, I must have got it wrong.
Right.
But at least you have you and Alexis to look at it together.
Yeah.
And you want to be reassuring to one another as you do it, right? Like, are you good with that? I'm
Yeah.
good with that. Okay, let's move on, kind of
Yeah.
thing. So given,
Given that, what is
And
the
that-
domain and range of f of g of x?
so
First we'd have to do that, and then, okay,
it's a new problem, which is weird. So we're
So
plugging g into f.
so then.
So where this is, where that x is, you instead write 2x.
2x to the third minus 12 2x, like that,
So, because they're, yep.
and then
So this, the only way you're going to know domain and range is if you put this in your calculator. So you would have to look at the calculator to understand that, but we can do this first because we can put the answer into the calculator.
okay, so is it 8x cubed?
Perfect. So 4 times 8x cubed minus 24x.
And then
So 32x
minus
cubed,
24x.
like that.
Wait, what?
So then you still have to multiply that 4 and 8, right? In the front there.
Wait, where'd you get the 8?
You got it. You just didn't write this 4, so I'd erase that equal and squeeze a 4 in right there. That's like a very common mistake because you're like, I did it, but then you forget to write that. And we can throw this in the old graphing calculator, 32x cubed. So 32x cubed here. Minus 24x, right? Yeah. Minus 24x. Okay. So what's the domain of that? Can I tell you a
X.
trick? So you don't have to think so hard.
Yeah.
Any cubic function. So you
All
look,
reals?
all reals, both domain and range, always.
Okay.
Okay. So domain and range is all reals. And we can make like a little flashcard list.
Yeah.
I'll just write like FC for flashcard, make them in hot pink because, you know, it was just Valentine's Day after all. So x cubed, domain, all reals,
Okay.
range, all reals, always. it's rare when you can say that in math, so it's like a relief when you
Yeah.
can say that kind of thing. So where did that problem go? F of G. Yeah, so that's it. All reals. Yep, good.
How do I do like the restriction?
Okay, good. So if we look at that, that's one of the hardest things, I think. So where's that? Right here. This one. Oh, and we want that. Oh, so all you got to do for that is, we don't need the calculator actually. So go back here.
F times G of X. So is that just like multiplying them? And then dividing. Oh, is that the one where it's like it doesn't equal this?
Yes.
Okay.
You just set the bottom equal to 0 and solve for x,
Yeah.
right? Because you can't divide by 0.
Yeah, and then
That's
it's
all
just
you gotta do. And then you would have to factor this thing, but it's not going to. That note just go. Your thing just disappeared. That's very weird. Okay, doesn't matter. We'll do another one. Okay. Yeah, just
Like
the-
it's just nothing equals 0, and then this one we just have to multiply both of them out.
So like you would have to factor that. Let's just make sure that nothing weird happens. 5x squared minus 3x. So we can divide out an x out of everything first.
Maybe I'll do this problem on here.
And then we get 2x squared plus 5x minus 3. But I can tell right away, we're not, like if I factor this thing, I'm not going to get 8x minus 7.
Yeah.
Because sometimes things will cancel top and bottom in a fraction. So I can already tell, even with that x out front, I can't get 8x minus 7 because 2 times negative 3 is negative 6, so we're never going to get anything bigger than 6.
Yeah.
So then I can stop factoring that right there. And let's say if you wanted to double check to make it absolutely certain, which is always a good idea on a test, especially when you're stressing out right on a test, you can always do the cross and see if it works and see if you come up with anything remotely close to 8x minus 7. Do you know what the sides would be on that? Six is one of those weird ones that's confusing. So, like, as soon as you pause, I like writing the factors so
Is
you
it
can
1
see
and
them.
2 and
So-
3?
So let's
3
try.
minus 3 minus no.
See, this is good. Your thought process
6
is good.
minus 1.
Right? 6 minus 1. Good. Because then when we multiply, we get negative 6, and when we subtract, we
Yeah.
get positive 5. But that's the hardest one. Like, that throws kids all the time.
Yep.
Like, math teachers are evil, and they'll always put that one on there because
Yeah.
they know it'll challenge kids, and they have to actually think.
Yeah.
So then, again, all you got to do is this. X minus 7 equals 0. We add 7 divided by 8. X would equal, and it's what it cannot equal.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
So we're good. All right. So that's that one. You can write that down. Let me go see if that T is ready.
Okay.
All right. What else looks tricky on there?
Okay, these are like the same. Let's see.
How about that one? You
Yeah,
wanna
I don't know.
graph that
Honestly,
one?
I'm a little confused on all.
Okay, just pick one and we'll do
I
it.
don't-
You want
yeah,
to
we
do this
can-
one?
Sure.
I can use compositional functions.
To
So let's write these down. So we have g of x equals 3 halves x plus 12. You have f of x equals
2/3 x minus 8. I think you just wrote 2.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
12.
There you go.
2/3 x minus 8.
Yep.
So what we do when we do this thing is so you have to prove that f of g of x equals x. So this is what we're trying to prove. So basically, what the hell does that mean? That means if I take, so g goes into f, right? Mm-hmm. So I take all of g, where I see x right here, I write g instead. Okay, so it looks like this.
2/3 times 3/2 x plus 12 minus 8.
Yep.
And then the 2/3 and the 3/2 cancel.
Perfect. And then you just think what 2/3 of 12 is. Do you know what that is? Think it in your head.
No.
So then the math is not hard doing it, right? So you basically, when you multiply two fractions, always straight across, top and bottom. So 2 times 12 is 24.
24 over 3.
24 divided by 3 is 8. And then we subtract that 8. So that is gone. And you already said when you multiply these two together, they cancel. So
yeah.
what do we have? X.
Yes.
So yes, these two functions are
Yes.
inverse because we got x as the answer. And it doesn't matter whichever way, like if you even screwed up and wrote g of f of x like this, it still works. So either way it should work. So it technically doesn't matter which way you plug it in.
Okay.
But I would just do f of g because it makes sense. F comes before g in the alphabet.
Okay. Okay. You have a coupon for 3 off a sandwich and you get a 5% discount with your student ID. What is the difference of the cost if the coupon is applied first?
And they don't tell you the cost of the sandwich.
Wait, no.
Oh, what is the
coupon.
difference?
In the cost. If the coupon is applied first, but they don't tell us the original price.
Yeah.
So is that like not possible?
Does she have the key posted?
I don't know.
It seems like you should have a cost of the sandwich, right? So let's just make one up. Let's say the sandwich costs $10.
Okay.
Nice round number, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if you have a coupon for $3 off and you get 5% off discount, what is the difference in the cost if the coupon is applied first? So your coupon is $3 off. So if it were a $10 sandwich, you'd subtract the $3.
$7.
And you get 7.
Yeah.
And then they're saying do the 5% discount as well.
Mm-hmm.
So do you know how to do 5% of 7? So the way I think about it is 10% of $7 is 70 cents. Because when you do 10%, all you do is move the decimal.
Yeah.
Like
and
that.
then half of 70
Half
cents.
of 70 cents is 35 cents.
Okay.
So then it would be 7 minus 0.35, which would get you, I don't know if they want you to do some weird like composition of functions, right? So if we said like f of x equals x minus 3, right, for taking $3 off because the sandwich could cost anything, and then g of x. So if you have 5% off, that means you pay 95% of the cost of the sandwich. You get
Right.
that? Right? So g of x would be 0.995x. But if I do composition of functions, there's no way I'm going to get x in that, right? But I think that's maybe what they want to say. What is the difference? But I think you have to have a dollar amount for this. Doesn't that make
Yeah.
sense? You would have a dollar amount?
Yeah, I think so.
6.65.
So is it
I
just
would
6
say
point-
if the sandwich costs $10 and you pay $6.65,
Oh, yeah, I'll just say that.
and just show that. That's weird. I mean, we're basically doing right here f of 10, and then 10 minus 3 equals 7.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
they said, what is the difference in cost if the yeah, so you don't have to do it the other way. Like if we did,
I don't think it is like a thing of functions, or a composition thing. So like, it wouldn't work.
so if we had 10 times 0.95, right? So 5% off 10 would be 10 minus, I think this is what they want you to do. So if we do 10 minus 50 cents, we'd have 9.50. And then if we took the coupon off, then it would be 6.50. So it would be cheaper if the discount was applied before the coupon.
Right. Yeah, but it's just asking what the difference in cost is if the coupon
Yeah.
is applied first.
They should ask it both ways. Doesn't
Yeah.
that make more sense? Because then you compare them.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, I want the discount, then
Yeah.
the coupon, and then I'm good. Okay.
Okay, so
this
graph.
one, you're going to be disturbed, but I actually like these ones.
Okay.
So here's the general equation. We'll even use f of x. So f of x, like standard form equation, is a parentheses square root of x plus 3 minus 1. Oh, I don't want to write that though. I want to write x minus h
Oh, right.
plus k. I started writing the equation anyways. So hk is like the start of the function or the center of the function, depending on the type of graph. In this, for a square root function, it's going to be the start of the graph. So if we plug this in, there's no a, so it's just 1 if there's no a. And then x plus 3 minus 1. Put this down a little bit. So when I think about this function, it's always opposite sign in the parenthesis, same sign outside.
So it's -3, -1 for
Yes.
the. Okay.
So -3, -1 is where that thing starts.
Yeah.
And then she will make you graph it for sure, and you don't, like, it's a pain, but whatever. It's not that hard to graph. You have to plug order pairs in. That's the only way you can graph it, because I would guess you would make this a no calculator portion.
She's giving us the calculator for the whole test.
Ooh, that's handy. All right, so yeah, throw that thing in there. That's quite handy. You graph that. So then if I have to graph on in here, I'm going to go second graph. And I'm just going to use, here, look at this real quick. Go second window. And then start it at 0. And then go second graph again. Because sometimes your calculator could be in the thousands and you're like, that sucks. So 1, 1, first order pair, boom, boom. We know we have -3, -1. So 1, 2, 3, down 1. Because that was our vertex.
Yeah.
And then
then
6,
6,
2.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay.
And then if we have to list domain and range, so where do the x values start on that graph?
-3.
-3. So domain is x is greater than or equal to -3, because it goes forever to the right.
And then y.
Does she make you write it like this? X such that?
She
X
doesn't
is-
care.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
So this would be fine, writing it like that?
Yeah.
Good. See, I'm telling you, I think the principal has been helping her kind of chill out a little bit.
Well, actually, I don't know. So basically, she has not been following my 504 at all.
Oh,
Still. And so I'm not getting all the information because she won't wear the mic. And so I talked to her a lot, and she won't do anything. My parents emailed her, and she didn't do anything.
have you talked to your counselor?
Yeah, I talked to my counselor, and the counselor talked to her, and she didn't do anything. So then I just had my 504 review meeting, and I brought it up, and they're like, okay, we're going to talk to Mr. Doan about that. Because, yeah, so we'll see.
I will actually let me write myself a reminder, and I'll talk to Dawn about that as well.
Yeah.
I'm gonna put it in my calendar because we have a when you have Tuesday off, we have meetings in the morning and then teacher workday in the afternoon.
Oh.
So it's a perfect opportunity
Yeah.
to talk to him then. So I'm gonna put a reminder on Tuesdays to make sure that you get that, and then. And then, what is she not doing that she should be doing? Just so I have
Where
the
the
note.
mic. Like, she keeps
Oh.
forgetting. And my counselor knows the whole thing and, like, wrote an email to Mr. Doan, so, like, he knows. But, yeah, it's very frustrating.
And what's your hearing loss like?
It's, like, high frequency, so it's, like, hard when she's speaking because it's, like, if I'm, like,
She speaks
has
at
a
a
high
high
voice.
frequency?
Yeah.
And she speaks at a shout, basically.
Yeah, and it's just, like, not, I
Her
don't know.
son was 2 doors down when he went to Monarch, and he was like, "Mom, would you shut up? I can hear you all the way down the hall."
Yeah.
And
just, like,
do you know where
talks.
my classroom is compared to hers?
Yeah.
That's one reason I'm that far away, because it
Yeah.
grates on you, right? It just
Yeah.
is frustrating to listen to.
Yeah, it's
That's
just like, and then
awful.
especially like sometimes if we're doing work on like whiteboards or something,
Right?
then she'll be turning around and talking, and then I can't see her, so I can't.
And you can't hear, because you'll read lips a little bit as well.
Yeah.
Talk to me, so high frequency, and do you have to read lips for everybody?
It depends on the situation. Like I
Like
have
my
I have
voice?
2 hearing aids, but I'm
Is
just
my voice good
It's
because it's
fine.
lower?
yeah, and like I used to
Interesting.
have
I'm
to
always
lip read a
curious,
lot.
like how it all works, right? Because
Yeah, I used
haven't
to
had
have to
hearing
like
loss.
have to lip read a lot before I got hearing aids and stuff. Like I just relied on it so much, I didn't realize it.
And is it like a birth defect kind
Well,
of
it
issue,
was like
or
we're pretty sure because like when I was born, I failed my hearing test.
okay?
But the doctors like never told my parents, and apparently it's pretty common because like a lot of babies fail their hearing tests because
Right.
they have fluid in their ears.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, and then like in preschool they don't do any testing, and then like
Did you start talking later than kids, or was
I
there?
don't know. I think I started talking, but it was just like I don't know. Once I got to kindergarten, they like did another hearing test, and I failed that one again. And then they had like a person from the district like come into my classroom and like watch me basically, and they were like, "Yeah, I don't know, like." Ruby's like really overcompensating by like lip reading and working a lot harder to get
Right.
things done. So I don't know, like, yeah, but
And you're used to it, so you don't really know what it feels like.
well, it was
I
weird.
guess with the
because-
hearing aids, you know
Yeah.
normal what it's like.
Kinda, but like hearing aids are like really robotic, so
Okay.
it's not really the same. But also like when I was like in first grade or something, they were like, you should get hearing aids, and then my parents were like, because they're not really covered by insurance.
And they're super expensive.
They're like for me, they're $4,000, and my dad also has hearing aids, and they're like a little bit less expensive for him, but they're really bad. So I didn't get hearing aids, and then like when I was in middle school, because my hearing loss, they think it's progressive, and so in middle school, like when the pandemic happened and everyone was wearing masks, I thought my hearing was getting worse. Because I didn't understand anything.
Because you couldn't read the lips. Yeah.
And that's when I was like, oh, like that's, because like everyone was like, oh, you lip read, but I just never noticed it, I guess, because like, but yeah, and then I got hearing aids in like 7th grade, I think, so I went a really long time without them, and when I got them, I was like, what is happening? Like this
And
is
then it
so
had to be
weird.
mind-blowing, right?
Yeah,
All-
it was crazy.
So you said robotic. What is, like, it's a robot voice
Like
sounding
it
kind
just
of
like
thing?
it's not like a hearing aid is just like I don't know, it's just like electronic, so it's not like it doesn't really sound natural. Like when there's
And you're in
wind,
band. How
Yeah.
does that work in band then?
I definitely like actually for some stuff I don't wear my hearing aids during band because it just makes things sound like
Weird.
weird, yeah. And which is like loud,
Yeah.
and I don't like that.
Right.
But
Because it's like in your
Yeah.
head too much kind of thing.
but I can't tune. Like
Interesting.
I have to have a visual tuner because I can't tell the difference between like unless
yeah.
it's like really bad. Like I can't tell the difference
way
between like
off
sharp
tune,
and
but
flat.
you can't get it like sharply on tune.
No.
That's very interesting.
And-
What do you play again?
I play clarinet and then I also play violin outside of school,
Okay.
and I can't tune with that either.
Yeah, no, that would be really hard to tune.
Yeah, and then
Interesting.
yeah, I don't know. It's just like, especially like with someone who has like normal hearing, if it's windy, it doesn't affect them. But if you have a hearing aid, it's like if you have a microphone up to the wind, that's what
Oh,
it's
yeah,
like.
it's
Because it's just a
terrible.
microphone basically. So that's what it's just like really. It just makes things sound like it's not natural sounding. But like
kinda
your brain
like-
gets used to it, so like
Yeah.
it doesn't sound like. But when I first got them, I was like, I don't
It's
like
interesting.
this.
So when I was because I got a master's in special education,
Yeah.
and one of the activities they had us do was to understand visual loss. So you'd get a Ziploc bag, like one of the normal sandwich ones, not the freezer one, right? Because the freezer one's thicker plastic. So if you look through a sandwich one, it looks pretty clear if you hold it like this. But if you put it right over your eyes,
Yeah,
it's
you
like
can't
very
see.
different.
Yeah.
And that was like 20, 100, and then you fold it in half, and that's like 2,200. You fold it in half again, and that's legally blind.
That's crazy.
And so they talk about people with blindness having object awareness.
Yeah.
So it's not like black. Like a
Right.
lot of people think blindness is just like black.
Yeah,
You
they
see
think the same thing about
absolute-
deafness. A lot
Right.
of the times, like you can't hear anything, which is very.
But they could walk through this and not bump into any of the tables or
Right,
anything because
yeah.
you have that sense where things are and you can't see them precisely. But you might bump into stuff a little bit. But it's super cool.
Yeah, it was crazy. Like
Wow.
yeah.
So she's got to wear that damn microphone.
Yeah, well, it was really weird because like the first time
You would
I like
and
heard
you
crickets, I was like, oh my god, I can like turn crickets off. It's like-
Yeah.
it was really funny. But yeah, it was.
We had a pond behind my house, and there were always bullfrogs.
Oh yeah,
And they'd be like that when I was sleeping at night because
Yeah.
I'd have my window open.
yeah.
But yeah, that's crazy to think about. Just like
It's
turn
really
them
weird.
off.
Like, well, it's weird because like it's just like a
The
weird
first
feeling.
time I heard crickets, like that's gonna
Yeah.
stick with me.
Well, it's just like a weird feeling when like you're like just sitting there and then you're like these sounds like exist, but I've just never been aware of them before. It's
Yeah.
like really weird. And
It's like if you're blind and somebody
Yeah,
fixed your
saw-
optical
you
nerve
saw
so you could
things.
see.
yeah, it was just weird. Like I don't know. I describe it as like when I don't have my hearing, it's like muffled, just like blurry, but like
Yeah,
hearing,
yeah,
you know?
but voice blurry.
Yeah.
Like somebody who mumbles and they don't speak
But that's what's
precisely.
like yeah.
Yeah.
So
My wife speaks really quietly.
yeah, no, I can't.
And so does my student teacher.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you need to wear that microphone
Yeah.
and crank that thing up because people can't hear you.
Yeah.
And it's like she thinks she's being nice, right? And will
Yeah.
kind of trail off on sentences.
can't do
And you're
that.
like, no, you can't. You
Yeah.
have to project. As
Yeah.
a teacher, the kids have to hear you.
Yeah,
Like I
exactly.
don't need the microphone. My voice projects really well.
Yeah, and I like all of my teachers have to wear it, but I definitely have some teachers I'm like, you don't really have to. I'm fine, because I also like my other thing is I have to like sit in the front. So
Are you sitting in the front?
yeah, except for
Okay.
a while she moved me into the back, so that was another problem. But
And how many times have you asked her to use the mic?
basically, like at the beginning of the year, so I have like I think I have it with me. I have this little mic that connects into my ears.
Right.
And I got it this year, so I was like, okay, maybe I'll try using this at school and just see what happens, because it's like the teacher's voice is like in your ears, which is really nice. But then I realized that if we were doing partner work or something, I couldn't hear anyone around me, just the teacher. So I stopped using it. And also, I'm not the only hard of hearing kid in my class. There's another kid too. And so basically when I was giving her that, she was like, well, there's another kid in the class who needs me to wear this other microphone, so I don't want to be wearing two microphones, so I'm not
bad.
going to wear yours. And I was like, okay. So, but at least she was wearing like the main FM, so I was like, whatever. And
Right.
then, so I just stopped trying to give her the other thing. And then I guess the other kid was fine with her not wearing it. And
So you
So
have a
she-
microphone. If you were in my class, you have a microphone you give me.
like
not
some
the classroom
I
one.
stopped using it because I just couldn't hear anyone else around
Yeah.
me. But like there's certain situations like in like Shrek, because I'm in the pit for Shrek. I
Yep.
have my director wear it because she like has a really soft voice and I have no idea what's going on.
Is it the student teacher one,
Um,
or is it?
I don't know. I don't think she doesn't work at Monarch, but her
Okay.
name's Mary Vogelsberg. I don't know.
I've heard that name.
Yeah,
but-
she doesn't work at Monarch, but she
Okay.
just got her teaching degree. But anyways, yeah, so that happened, and then she just stopped wearing the mic altogether. And so then I was like, I also emailed, like, I emailed all my teachers at the beginning of the year, just being like, hey,
Yeah.
you need to wear it.
This is who I am.
Yeah.
And what I need.
So
and-
like I can't hear very well, so you're gonna have to do this. And yeah, so then she was like, oh yeah, like I'll work on that or whatever. And then she just didn't do it. And so then I talked to my counselor because I was like, this is sort of ridiculous. And then my counselor
is.
talked to her, and then she like talked to me after class that day, and she was like, why did you go to your counselor before me? And I was like, I've reminded you like every day. So I don't know.
And what did she say to that? Did you actually say that to her?
Well, I was
I've
just-
reminded you several times or
Well,
whatever.
I just said like, I don't know. It was a while ago. I was just kind of like, I did.
Yeah.
And she was like, I don't know what she said to that, but yeah, it was just.
Because you get emotional about it, and it's
Well,
got to be upsetting
It's
as
just
well,
like
right?
I try not to get like super mad about stuff because then it's just like you're gonna always be mad, you know, if you like can't
Yeah.
understand something or whatever. But it's like when it's like a class I really struggle in,
Yeah.
it's just like I can't fill in the blanks by myself because if
Right.
it's information I'm not getting, then I'm just not getting that information.
Right.
And so then, yeah, and then she basically wrote a sticky note to herself, like on her computer, that says like third period mic. And then she was like fine for like a week. And then she moved me to the back of the classroom, but was wearing the microphone. And I was like, oh, I still can't hear you because now, now I'm in the back of the classroom. But she put me next to the other hard of hearing kid, so I was like, we are so useless next to each other.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like I can ask him what's going on. He doesn't
Right.
know. And yeah, so then she finally put me in the front after like I had to remind her like 3 times, and then she sort of remembered to wear the mic, and then like she kind of stopped. And so then my parents emailed her, my mom emailed her, and then she emailed back this very rude email being like, I had a migraine, so you know, I've been really struggling with that. I'm like, okay, great. Like, you have a
Doesn't
migraine
matter,
for like
you
2
still
days.
gotta wear
I'm
the
still,
mic.
even if like you have a thing going on, it doesn't mean that I can hear you now. Like, I still can't hear you.
Do you have like,
So-
is it a special ed situation or just 504 situation?
Just a 504.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's where, like, I wish, like, when I
know.
was a special educator, I would fight with teachers about accommodations.
Yeah.
And they would say, no, I'm not doing that. And I'm like, okay, well, I'll see you in court.
Exactly.
Like,
yeah.
we will take your
'cause
ass
it's
to
like,
court.
I think that people sometimes don't really understand that like a 504 or an IEP is like a legal document.
Yes.
So it's like
You can't not do it.
And I had this talk with her like recently, which I think I was like kind of thinking about you when I was talking to her. But
Yeah.
basically, yeah. So my mom emailed her. She sent back this really like I had a migraine, whatever. And my mom was like, okay, well that doesn't really matter. Because
Yeah.
like
I don't care.
it doesn't
Like, I'm
like
sorry you had
wearing
a migraine, but
like
wear
that
the
doesn't
damn
really
mic.
matter, you know. And so then like nothing changed really, and then a week ago we were in class and we were doing whiteboard things, and I had literally no idea what was going on, and I you know, it's a partner test, so I want to be able to do good.
Yes.
Like meet Alexis, and
You wanna
Alexis wasn't
contribute.
there. Yeah, because Alexis also like wasn't there for a day, and I just wanted to be like, okay. And so I didn't understand what was going on, and she kept being like, "You're not writing anything on your board," and I was like, "Because I can't hear you," but I didn't want to like whatever, so I was just like,
You
I
didn't
just
wanna make a
started
big
writing random
scene.
numbers, yeah. And then after class, I like wrote this thing out on a sticky note, and I went up to her and I was like, "Look, like I understand that you have a lot of students, and that sometimes it can be hard to remember, but also like, you know, I deserve the right to the education, and like when you're not wearing a mic or like following my 504, then I'm not getting access to the same education that everyone else in the class is, and I'm working twice as hard."
Like, if you said that to
have a
me, I would
tutor-
feel so bad. I'd
Yeah,
be
I know.
like, I'm so sorry. Like, I want to
and
give
I
you a
wasn't,
hug. Like,
you know,
oh
and
my
I
God.
wasn't really being that nice about it
Yeah,
either,
yeah,
because
well,
I
you
was just
shouldn't
like,
be 'cause you're
I have to be
frustrated.
firm so that she remembers
Yes.
this, and then she remembers to wear the microphone.
Yes.
And literally the next day she forgot to wear it. And that's when I had my 504 meeting, and I was telling Miss Benish about it, and Miss Benish was like, because she's, well, I guess she is my 504 person,
It
but then
should be
also
the
there's like
same.
another, like, person who's just in charge of all the cases.
Oh,
so I don't know, but
okay.
she's like more with mine, and at first she was like, well, why don't you just raise your hand every day and ask her to wear the mic? And I was like, well, don't you think that if she's literally violating a legal document that she should have a consequence? Like,
Yeah.
you know,
Makes sense.
I like,
Like if I were essentially breaking the law every single day,
yeah,
I
like,
should get in trouble.
what kind of message does that send also to the student? Because it's not like I haven't been advocating
Right.
for myself.
Yes.
Then I have to work harder, and she
See,
just
you
gets to
speak
get off
very
about it.
intelligently about it. Like it makes complete sense what
Yeah.
you're saying. Like you can't argue.
Yeah,
I
no,
can't
I
say
know.
like,
It's
no,
so-
Ruby, it should
it's-
not be like
it's
that.
so good, like, because
Yeah.
there's just no other argument
No,
for it. It's like,
it
well,
makes complete sense. Oh my God.
yeah, so we'll see what happens. But it's been
Well,
pretty
that's
crazy.
good. I'll talk to Benish about it too. Actually,
Yeah,
I'll
I
add
mean,
that
it's
to
like-
that note.
Dang, thank you. Yeah, I don't know. It's just been crazy.
No, I get pissed about that kind of stuff. It's
yeah,
just,
me too.
It's asinine.
You have to take deep breaths, but it's also just like
But
this
you
is
shouldn't have
so
to take
annoying.
deep breaths, like-
yeah, like this is just not something any student should have to deal with. And I think the other kid in my class, he's just like very quiet and probably maybe is more embarrassed about it. And like,
Yeah.
there's a lot of kids who just don't want to say anything.
Sure.
And so it's just like not fair to put it on other people to have to go up to you and be like, so, like, I have a disability
You
and
would
you
say,
need to
like, if you needed
It's
to
just like-
remind me once, I'd be like, I am so sorry.
Yeah.
If I forget again, please raise your hand and let me know, and I'll put the microphone on,
Yeah.
and then it would be over. It's like, it's so easy to fix.
It's also like
That's what I
I feel
don't
like out
understand.
of every accommodation, not that any accommodations shouldn't be followed because they're too hard,
Right.
but that is literally the easiest
It
thing
is
to do.
incredibly
You just put
easy,
it on. It
yeah.
also benefits everyone in the class.
Yes.
Yeah.
That is maddening.
Anyways,
Oh my God.
yeah. So pretty exciting.
It's not
but-
fun.
No.
All right. Wise.
So it's greater than -1.
Perfect. Greater than or equal to, right?
Greater than
Because
or
it's
equal
got a
to.
dot. Wow, that's insane.
Yeah, I know.
You know what's funny about 504s and special ed accommodations? I honestly don't need to. Here's how I look at it, which is going to sound wrong at first. I don't pay any attention to them because you know what I do in my classroom? I give kids what they need.
Yeah.
So you would come up and be like, dude, can you wear that mic? I'm a little hard of hearing. I'd
Yeah.
be like, sure, I'll
Yeah.
wear the mic.
Exactly.
Like if a kid needs extra time, whether or not they have a 504 or not, I give them extra time.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, finish the test. I won't let it be ridiculous.
Yeah.
Right? You can't take 3 hours to take an hour-long test. But I don't ever really need to hold that accountability either because I'm like, this is how it should happen.
Yeah.
Like I have 2 girls that struggle in pre-calculus. And I'm like, how about you make a note card for every test?
Yeah.
That's no accommodation they have, but now they can pass pre-calculus because I let them use a note card.
Yeah.
Like, you want to
That
sit in
makes
the front of
sense.
the room because you can pay better attention?
Fine.
Okay, I'll sit you in front of the room.
Yeah.
Now, of course, we need like stadium seating in front of the room. So like we're at bunk beds basically, so everybody's in the front, but
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
it's interesting because I've never had a problem with it at all because I always do whatever the kid needs.
Right.
And I even have one parent that's like, she's the most difficult parent I've ever had in my 28-year teaching career. But still, I give that kid what he needs, and
Right.
there's no problem at all.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay,
I mean,
you want,
yeah, and that makes
you want to
sense.
do half of the assignment? I assign 8 problems, and you do 4. I don't care.
Yeah.
Do 4. Who cares?
That's like how it should be. I think.
Yeah. And that's what I'm trying to school my student teacher to do as well. Like,
Yeah.
give the kids what they need. Like,
To do
show
well.
them love and respect. They will love and respect you back. And
Yeah.
then it's like a very positive envalment in there.
Yeah,
Where you
exactly.
want to come to class.
Yeah.
Not where you're like, I got to
yeah.
go to math again. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Like, balling your fists up
Yeah.
kind of be
And the
vibe.
thing
Like,
that she said to me when I told her that whole thing about like this is the right to my education, she was
Yeah.
like, so basically it takes too long to turn off the mic when kids have questions. And if I like put it off on the table, then kids will hear rustling. And I literally said, I was like, with all due respect, I would so much rather like hear a little bit of rustling than like none of the lesson. So I was like, I think you have some priorities here, because
yeah.
and
Wow.
yeah,
That's great to hear because I will
Yeah.
tell Dawn, you know, a synopsis of all of that and she'll start wearing it. And if she
yeah.
doesn't talk to me again, like you can
I know,
just pop your head in my room.
my dad is the principal at Superior Elementary, and he was like, I would file a complaint if it weren't for the teacher union. I was like, yeah,
No,
like,
you still should.
yeah, I know, but
Like, I don't care. Because principals oftentimes say, like, teachers are hard to fire. And I call total BS on that. because there are 3 levels of seriousness in that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And you can get teachers to do things.
Yeah.
Like, it's not that hard.
No.
But it takes some effort from the principal to make it happen.
Yeah.
And that's where it falls apart because they do too much stuff.
Yeah.
Like, I went most of the way through an administrative license and stopped because I was at Centennial Middle School in North Boulder, and it was like the easiest possible principal job you could have. And I just watched these principal and assistant principal the whole year, like just very carefully watching what they had to do, what they liked, what they didn't like, and talked to them a lot about it. And I was like, nope, I don't even want to do it.
Yeah.
Like, and I was 95% of the way through, and I was like, I don't even want it on my resume, because then let's say one of the assistant principals at Monarch has a heart attack,
Yeah.
or leaves for quickly, or gets fired because they did something bad, right? Which all of these things have happened at Monarch High School. Then I would be the assistant principal and I wouldn't get to teach.
Yeah.
And I would be very sad if I couldn't teach, because
Yeah.
that's why I do this
My
thing.
dad started out teaching English
Yeah.
and then was a vice principal. Yeah.
Was he,
Right.
what level did he teach English?
I think he's been teaching for like ever since I was born, like before that.
Okay.
So I think it was different. He used to teach in Chicago, in which he was teaching in a pretty like rough area, and I think it was maybe middle schoolers,
Okay.
and then yeah.
Middle
but
school is the hardest age to teach.
especially like in that area, a lot of those kids like were just in poverty and didn't have a lot of guidance. But he really loved it. So
You could be real, like at my first year teaching, I taught elementary kids with emotional disabilities, and it was insane. I'd
Yeah.
have kids who would be sitting like right across from me and go like, bam, and slam their head on the desk.
yeah,
And it's always a horrible reason why they do stuff like that, but
yeah,
I could have done it and been really good at it, but it's like so much to
It's
take
so
on,
hard.
like
Yeah.
emotionally, because
Yeah.
you have to like let's say you were abused in some way, and I gotta like leave that at home, like
Yeah.
or leave it at school, and go home and not process and think about it,
Yeah.
and I can't do that really.
yeah,
It's just messed up. Like I
Yeah.
wouldn't want to do it.
right,
Okay.
yeah,
This one, so -2 on 0, so right there. And then if we plug in, let's say we plug in 2 right here for x, we would get 2, 2, right? Because 2 plus 2 is 4, square root of 4 is 2. So make a dot of 2, 2. That's 1, 2. Yeah, there you go. Good. And then draw your graph. You know curves, right? So, and then not straight though, right?
Oh.
It curves. So we had -2, 0. That's upsetting that that's happening to you. I don't like that.
yeah. It's always
I will-
one teacher,
I
but
will
usually it's
fix
like a
it.
PE teacher or something. So I'm like, I don't care.
Yeah, it's not that big a deal.
Yeah,
But still, it is a big deal. I'm
Yeah.
like, that's BS.
Yeah.
So 2, 2 right there. And square root functions
Oh,
always
okay.
curve like that, right? And then it's dotted because it's not equal
Oh,
to.
right. Okay.
So I just erase, that erase everything. So then it's shaded above or below. Do you know if that's less than or greater than?
Greater or less than
Less than, so you shade
Below.
below. And it stops right there, so pretend, yeah, you gotta pretend like there's a wall right there,
Yeah.
essentially. Perfect.
cool.
All right, so what, write the
Write the
expression.
expressions 5x to the
This
fifth
is-
to the third.
This is a classic one, they always write. So 5x to the 2/3 power. So these are two totally separate things. The 5 and
It's
the
2
x to the
fifths.
2, okay, 2
Yeah.
fifths. So this is like 5 to the first power, so you don't mess with the 5. That's, kids always screw that up. It drives me crazy. I'll talk about it in class and they still screw it up, one of those kind of things. Do you know if the 5 goes in the elbow of the radical or underneath? Like, do you just know that? Because I have a trick. If you don't know it, don't guess, because if you guess and get it wrong, it makes it worse. So I think of the radical as like a down arrow, and this is in the denominator, right? So the 5's got to go with the down arrow. then I always know it goes with it, like denominator down, so I always put it there, and then it's x squared like that. Numerator goes under, denominator goes in the elbow.
Okay, so is it
She
just
probably
5?
does not call it the elbow.
No.
Because I like using more kid-friendly terms. Technically, this is called the index.
Oh yeah, that's what she's called.
Yes, right.
Okay,
But
so
I'm
is
like,
it just 5/5 root of x
Done.
to the squared? Okay.
That's all you got to do. Just switch them from exponential to radical form.
Okay.
Okay, so find the simplified form. That's a good one too. So we have cube root of 54. It's helpful. You can use your calculator for this one
Yeah,
too.
because then you
X,
can
y
do
to the
the
7.
third.
54 divided by x and y equals.
Yeah. So
So put 54 divided by x in there. Now, most kids don't know numbers at cube root. I think, I remember doing
Oh, we
this.
also get to, I should have mentioned this. For the test, we get a page of notes.
Oh, nice.
So, like, I get a half page and Alexis gets a half page.
Beautiful. Okay, so if we do 2 squared is 4. So this is a good thing to write on your half page, like super tiny off in the corner. And then 4 times 2 is 8. So, that's weird. So then if we do 3 times 3 is 9, 9 times 3 is 27. So 3 cubed is 27. So when we look here, you can see the 27. So if I break apart cube root of 54, I can break it into cube root of 27 and 27 times 2, because I just look across and then I know it's times 2. And then when I want to see what the cube root of 27 is, I look here and I look here. I just go back to the x and that tells me where cube root is. Okay, so then I have a 3 that goes out front, and you have to leave space because you're going to have a y in there. So I know the 2 goes underneath, and the 3 is out there because cube root of 27 is 3.
Yeah.
And cube root of 2 you can't do. Okay, and then if it's x to the first power, you can't do anything with that, so x stays under. And then last, I say 3 divides into 7. How many times?
2.
How many left over?
1.
So then when you write 2, you write y squared out, and you write y to the first under. You remember how just, this is a good thing to write on your note card as well. Like, let's say we have the, let's say it's x to the 9th. So how many times is 8 divided into 9?
1.
So we have 1x out, and we have 1x left
In.
under. And because this exponent is odd, you always have to have, and I'll do it in hot pink, you always have to have absolute value. If the exponent you pull out is odd, it's always absolute value.
Okay.
Okay? So that's it. This would be a good little flashcard moment.
Yeah. And I can
Right?
just put that
Or
on my
note
notes,
card.
yeah.
Note card. We'll say NC for note card. Okay, note card moment there for sure.
Sweet.
All right. So this
This
guy.
one, yeah, this one I like.
So it's
no.
it's easy. Are you ready?
Yeah.
You're like, no, it's not. I call bullshit. It is not easy. All right. So when you have square roots top and bottom, and they have the same index, they have the same number in the elbow, which in this case would be 2. Right? Second root, square root mean the same thing.
Yep.
Then you can make a jumbo fraction out of it. And you always want to simplify underneath first because it makes it easier. And you have what? X to the 5th.
And then x to the 3rd,
Y.
y.
Okay. So then we can, it's going to be just a little square root after we're done. So what's 12 divided by 3?
4. Oh my gosh.
It's okay. Brain fart. And then I look at the x's. Here's how I do it. Like, it is so easy this way. Which has more x's, top or bottom?
Top.
How many more?
2.
There you go. X squared under. Isn't that easy?
Mm-hmm.
It's the best way to think about it, right? It does not work if you have negative exponents, however.
Okay.
Then you just have to go through and deal with the subtraction.
Okay.
Because that's what you do. 5 minus 3 is 2. That's
Yeah.
why it's x squared under.
And then you just keep
and then
y.
you
'cause
keep
can't
the
do
y
it.
there. Now, what else can you simplify?
The 4 squared.
So 2.
2.
and
then
then-
square root. Or,
What's
sorry,
square
and
root
then
of x squared? Does x need absolute value? Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes, because it's x to the first.
Mm-hmm.
And then square root y. Right? It's seemingly difficult, like you looked at it originally and
Yeah.
you're like, there's no way, and it seems easy now, right?
Yeah.
That's because you have a good tutor who can
Yes.
tell you how to do these things.
Yes.
Okay, what's next? How many is this it? Good. All right, cool. You wanna see?
That I'm gonna be like a minute late.
Say, so I'm totally fine if your mom's totally fine to wait like 10 minutes because we chatted for a bit about the whole
Yeah.
504 situation, but I feel like that was important because I can help
yeah,
you.
I agree.
See if she can wait like 10 minutes. And like I told you, I'll finish this thing anyway and send it to you just so you have it.
Okay, that's probably fine.
All right. So,
Yep.
rationalize the denominator.
She's not gonna say like you can't do more math.
No, I will not do it. All right, so 7 minus square root of 2 over. So this is that conjugate stuff.
Yeah. Oh right.
You
Okay.
remember that? So when we multiply by the conjugate, the only thing you have to do is switch the sign in the middle. Okay, you don't switch the sign in front, just the middle.
Okay.
So then we multiply this thing by square root of 2 minus 1 over square root of 2 minus 1. So I'm going to show you real quick how to do the box. Don't write this down. We're going to box the top, yes, but the bottom we don't need to. So what's square root of 2 times square root of 2?
Square root of 4,
Which is 2. And then if we do outside, we multiply these two, I get negative 1 square root of 2. And we do this, I get positive 1 square root of 2. So negative 1 square root of 2, positive 1 square root of 2. And then 1 times negative 1 is negative 1. These two always cancel. That's the whole point of multiplying by the conjugate.
Okay.
And 2 minus 1 is 1. So the bottom of this fraction is 1. So here's the method I want to teach you, which I don't care if you know how to do it on the test or not, but I think it's important just to know how to do it. Let me write this up here. So, quick FOIL method, when you have the exact same thing, top and bottom, the only difference being the positive and negative. If we do square root of 2 times square root of 2, what do we get?
Square root of 4, 2.
2. And I do positive 1 times negative 1.
1 or negative 1.
2 minus 1. Right? Isn't
Yeah.
that fast? That's good, right?
Yeah.
Especially if you're under time pressure on a test.
Right.
And you can, I think test taking, how much anxiety do you feel during a test? Like if you're,
during
say,
a math
0
test, like
to 10 being like you're about to start crying and freak out and have a nervous breakdown. 0 being I'm totally chill,
like during a math test, maybe like a 5.
okay, right in the middle.
Yeah.
So sometimes strategies like this are okay right now.
Yeah,
but
but they're
during a
not
test,
good
you
during
may
a
want to
test.
do this.
Yeah.
Right? So if you want to do this during the test, totally fine.
Okay.
But I still want you to think in your head and try to do it like this,
Mm-hmm.
right? 2, and then, like we said, we get the minus 1 equals 1. Boom, there's your answer.
Okay.
Right? And then if you're freaking out, then I would always double check it like that.
Okay.
Like I get pissed at my Algebra 1 kids when there's something on the test that'll simplify like this and they subtract that incorrectly because they just do it fast in their head.
Yeah.
I'm like, always think in your head what it is first and double check in your calculator,
Yeah.
especially during a test.
Right.
And they're 14-year-old freshmen and they're like, ooh, and they don't do it. And I'm like, I'm going to kill you.
Could you put this in your calculator? Like multiply
No.
that? Okay.
No.
Okay.
Actually, that's a good question. I think you probably can. If there's an X, no, but with just
If
the
there's not an
numbers,
X,
that's smart to think that. So +1. I love when kids bring up things that I've never thought of doing before, because then I use
Well,
them
because
for
this is like one of the only tests we have the calculator for everything, so might as well
So
take advantage
you would
of that.
have to put it in like that,
Right.
So you have to close that parenthesis, hit equal.
1.
Yes.
Nice.
Okay, without the X's, yes, I would do
Okay,
that.
sweet.
So let's put this one in then.
Okay.
So then square root of
And I'll do it with the box just so we can see that too. Minus square root of 2. You can look up here too. It's right there.
Okay, wait. I'm just gonna start over because that's not. Okay, so
You're getting
7
messed up. It's okay.
7 minus square root of 2. And then times square root 2 minus 1. I got 2.3.
So
I don't know how
try.
it works.
No, it makes sense, right? I'll show you what the answer is in a second.
Okay.
Because of the square roots, I don't think you
Should I do fraction?
enter. Yeah, it's because this is an irrational number.
Okay.
Because there's no repeating in the decimal. That's how you know it's irrational. And so it should be.
So
I
is it
think we're
two-
gonna get. We'll see. So if I combine like terms on the diagonal, so I can combine these two, and I can combine these two. Yeah, you have to do it like this.
Yeah.
Because that one worked on the bottom. Because again, the whole point of multiplying by the conjugate is to get rid of the square roots. That's why you do it.
Yeah.
Because you can't have a square root in the denominator. Whatever math nerd decided that should be kicked in the teeth, right? But they did, so you got to deal with it. I'm gonna move that over a little bit. And then -7 minus 2 is -9. And that's a plus because 7 minus 1 is +6. So that's the top and that's the bottom. That's nasty, right? But you can totally multiply that, right?
Yeah.
Like no problem.
Yeah.
It's good.
Okay.
I make my kids, I don't think Voss does this. I make my students write it as 2 separate fractions
Oh, okay.
just because a lot of times both fractions can cancel or one of the two can cancel, and kids will screw up and cancel one and then not have a denominator left on the other.
Yeah, maybe it's
Which
just
is
helpful to
wrong.
write that at first.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we should do for sure.
Okay.
This
Solve
nasty.
algebraically.
Let me just see. I want to look through the rest because I don't want to make your mom sit out there forever. We'll do these two for sure, and I can show you. I'll send you answers on these two because they're not as hard.
Okay.
At least at first glance, I could be wrong, but these two we should do for sure.
Sure.
All right. So square root of 3x plus 7. I would just watch, so you don't have to write it too, and you can copy it later. Equals
7x plus 4, and then
x plus 4
out of the square root plus 5.
plus 5. Okay. So basically, what you're trying to do is get all the square root stuff on one side,
Okay. So then would you subtract 7 or
But you-
subtract 5?
you can't really. That's annoying. So because this has two things under the square root, I'm going to get this one by itself first
Okay.
because it's going to make it easier. So I'm going to actually subtract 7 first, and then we get square root 3x equals square root 7x plus 4 minus 2. And then we got to square both sides. The problem's kind of evil. The reason it's evil is because then we got to do the box with this. So we have to do 7x plus 4 under the square root minus 2 because we have 2 of them. So we have to do it again. Square root of 7x plus 4 minus 2. So it's a gigantic box, which is unpleasant, but it's still not that hard. Like, kids freak out doing stuff like this, but why? You're just multiplying stuff together, right? So if I do this, then I get the square roots go away when we multiply 2 square roots, so I just get 7x plus 4. And then I have negative 2 times square root of 7x plus 4. I need a weird one, but it's okay. Negative 2 times square root of 7x plus 4, and then plus 4. Okay, so this whole side then becomes, so the 2 4s, I just add them together, so I get 7x plus 8. This side over here, I get just 3x, and then it equals negative 4, right? Because I have minus 2, minus 2. So that's negative 4 of these things. So I have negative 4. So minus 4. You can see how it's pretty unpleasant, right?
Yeah.
So then what I do is I subtract this 7x and I subtract this 8 because I'm trying to get the second square root by itself.
Okay.
Otherwise I keep having to do these giant boxes and like multiply stuff, and it's a pain in the neck, so I don't want to do that. Try to limit the amount of times you have to do that. So we get, so 3 minus 7 is negative 4x minus 8. And then these cancel. And then I have negative 4 square root 7x plus 4. Okay? So do you see a greatest common factor? Because I do.
Negative 4.
Yeah, so we can divide out that negative 4, which makes it way easier. And when I make especially my freshmen, I do the same thing with pre-calc, to be honest. I make them show it on every single part.
Yeah.
Like, kids will write the big fraction bar on the minus 4 and then forget to divide one of them. So then we just get, what do we get on the left?
X plus 4. Sorry, plus
Divide.
2.
Good. It's an
Equals,
easy mistake to make. And then all we have
7
left over
fourths.
here is 7.
Oh.
Nope, because you only divide what's in front.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so I'm
then
glad you said that.
7x plus 4.
And then what do I have to do?
So,
It's a problem that keeps on giving. I got to do it again,
Okay.
right? Because I got to get rid of that square root. Then I guarantee it's going to factor in the end. So this means x plus 2 times
X plus 2.
plus 2.
so then
Remember
x
I taught you
squared-
the rapid FOIL? You'll remember once I tell you.
Okay.
X times x is x squared.
Yep.
And then if I go, what's 2 plus 2?
4.
So plus 4x. What's 2 times 2?
4.
You just foiled it. Rapid FOIL method. Again, don't do that on the test, right?
Yeah, I
Show the
won't.
box and you won't screw it up. But it's cool when you see that and you're like, oh, that's so much easier. Why wouldn't
Yeah.
I always do that? Because your teachers haven't told you to do that. That's why you wouldn't always do that. So if I subtract the 2 4s, what happens to them?
They cancel
They're
out.
just gone, right? So then what do I have left? I just subtract that 7x over. So I have to make it equal 0, right? Because I have to solve for x. Kids get confused by that as well.
So
See how
then-
long that damn problem is?
Yeah.
Like it's a whole page. But honestly, you know she's going to put one like this. You remember how we talked
Sometimes
about?
she just uses the same problems too. Like,
So
I wouldn't be super surprised if it was like very similar or the same.
it's not a terrible idea. Like once we do this one, we'll see. I would
Maybe I
put
could
one
write
of-
it down on my notes.
Exactly what I was going to say.
So they
Write
can
it
see
on
how
your
to do it,
notes. Because then you won't screw it up. So we get x squared minus 3x equals 0. And then we can factor an x out. So we get x parenthesis x minus 3 equals 0. Anytime it equals 0, you want to set it equal to 0, both parts. So x equals 0, and then x minus 3 equals 0.
So then x
and
equals
here
3.
x equals 3 and 0. So did they say on here
Solutions are x equals
3 and 0? Normally they tell you to check for extraneous solutions. Do you remember her saying that?
Yeah, but this didn't say it.
It didn't say it, so you don't have to. But you would have to plug both of these into the original function.
Yeah, and then see if it works.
So if you plug in 0 right here, I'm curious if it works. You don't have to do it. Let's
Oh,
just
okay.
think. 3 times 0,
0.
so that goes away. So 7 on this side. 7 times 0,
0.
square root of 4,
2.
plus 5.
7.
So it works. And then if we plug in 3, same idea, right?
Yeah.
So you can just think in your head if it works. But on a test, especially knowing Voss, I would ask her, do I need to check for extraneous? Extraneous. Just because she may expect you to do that and it might not be in the directions. It's like I always have kids, they know, and I don't have to tell them that they have to simplify square roots.
Yeah.
I'm like, I told you that the entire chapter. I don't need to write it in the directions on the test. And it's only because sometimes I forget to write it in the directions on the test, right? And if a kid asked me during a test, I'd be like, yeah, you got to simplify the square root. But I would just ask her if you need to check for extraneous.
Okay.
And you could ask her, like, because you're in a reviewing class, I would guess.
Well, no, because I don't have her class before the test.
Oh, that's right, because you just start on Wednesday.
Yeah.
You could go into, if you can
Yeah.
access time, and just be like, this problem, do I need to check for extraneous? And will you say it on the directions on the test?
Okay. I'll ask.
And she might forget anyways, just like she forgets the...
Yeah.
Not cool. All right, last one.
Okay.
So square root x plus 21 equals 3 minus square root x.
This one says check your solutions.
Yes, so then I guess that's how they'll say it.
Yeah.
So you don't have, that means both of these work, and this one you have to check. So that
Yeah.
means probably one of them is not going to work,
Probably.
right? So you want to think like that on a test too, right? So you can make your life easier, because it's hard enough as it is. So first step, what do I do?
Square root both sides.
Square, but yeah.
Or yeah, square root sides.
all good. So
And then
x
you
plus
have
21 over here. And then
you
I
have
got to
to
box that.
Foil that, yeah.
Yeah, super fun.
Yeah. so
Yeah, you
fun.
do foil. That's box 3 minus square root x. So you know what you could do is you could do this quickly in your head. What's 3 times 3?
9.
So if I have negative 3 times, or 3 times negative square root x, I get negative 3 square root x. Twice is what?
Squared. Oh, 6.
See?
6. Yeah.
But again, that's why I would do the box during
Yeah.
the test, because you might mess that up. And then if I multiply, so if I'm multiplying these two, what do I get?
X squared. Or the square root of x squared.
Which is x. Good. So, like, I wish you could understand that you're good at math, because that just proved it, right? Stuff like that where you're thinking in your head and you're like x squared, and then you're like, nope, that's x. Like, that tells me you're good at math. So, like, I wish you could, like, take that and believe it in your heart,
Yeah.
because you are. And if you could
Thanks.
believe it in your heart, you would do better on these.
Yeah.
So the quicker you can get to that place where you believe in yourself, right? Like, that's half my job as a tutor anyways, is to make you believe in yourself.
Yeah.
And if I didn't believe that, I would tell you, like, no, you need to work harder. We should go twice a week instead of once
Yeah.
every other week kind of thing.
Yeah.
But, like, that shows me right there.
Okay.
Okay. So then I have plus x over here. I'm just going to move this over a little bit because it's getting scrunched. That's a beautiful x right there. Stop that. Go back. Go back. Stop it. X. Let's try that all again. There we go. Okay. So again, what I'm trying to do is get this square root by itself. Okay? So when I get that square root by itself, I subtract all the other nonsense over. And then you're like, yay, it's easier. right? Because the x's cancel. 21 minus 9 is 11. And then equals negative 6 square root x. And then I have to square again.
Yep.
You have to do that anytime there are two square roots on both sides. You're always going to have to square it twice. Okay, so when I square this, I get 121.
And then you have to FOIL that.
You don't have to FOIL, right? Because there's no plus in the middle.
Oh.
It makes it easier.
Okay.
So negative
so is it
6.
just 36. The square root of x squared, which is x. So it's just 36x.
36x.
And then you divide by 36.
Then
Oh,
that's
yeah.
not going to divide by 36 though. What a
Oh.
weird answer. That's not cool. Oh, it's a little trick though. So they stopped, I don't remember if I've told you this before, they stopped teaching divisibility rules. Because we're saying, so check your solution. So we need to know what x equals. It doesn't matter, actually I can leave that over on the other side.
Okay.
The little divisibility rule I was going to tell you is that if you add these three digits, what do you get?
3?
1 plus 2 is 3, plus 1 is
Oh, 4.
4. So if this were to add up and you get a number that you can divide by 3, that means this number is divisible by 3. So if I add 3 and 6, I get 9. So 36 is divisible by 3. It's just a quick little thing that's kind of cool to know. But it doesn't matter in this problem. I thought it did at first, but it didn't. So then we just do 121 divided by 36, I mean. Which is that beautiful
3.36
decimal.
or 3.4,
And then we're
I
going to go
guess.
math, enter. So
121.36.
it literally doesn't reduce,
Yeah.
so that's the answer. I just want to double check and make sure I didn't screw anything up. 9, so that's 9 minus 3 square root x minus 3 square root x. That's right. Minus, that's right. 21 minus. Sometimes my brain does weird things. I'm just double. So if you watch your math tutor who goes through and double checks things, do you think you're going to double check things?
Mm-hmm.
See what I screwed up?
Oh.
12, not 11. I felt something was wrong because when we did, and you got that weird ass decimal,
Yeah.
they usually don't do that
Right.
on especially a regular textbook. So then this is different. Let's fix that. Still not that big a deal. So this is 12 because I thought something
So
would
that's
cancel.
144.
144
And then 36x.
equals 36. So do 144
I think
divided
that's a
by
good number.
36 in there. And I think you get 4.
4, yeah.
Oops, I wrote
So
4
x is
because we
4.
said 4. So x equals 4.
And then
It makes more sense, right, if you get an answer.
yeah, and then
so
the
then
square
we
root
check.
of 4 plus 21 is 25, and then that's 5 equals 3 minus the square root of 4, which is 2. So 3 minus 2 is 1, and 5 doesn't
So it
equal
doesn't
1, so
work.
it doesn't work.
Kids get so pissed off when you give them problems like this where you do all this work and then it doesn't work.
Yeah.
You're like, really?
Yeah.
Why did I do all of that?
Yeah.
That's annoying. But whatever, you know it's right. That's the beauty, right? You know
Yeah.
it's right. So you got to get over that. We did all that for nothing.
Yep.
And be like, I know it's right. And
Yeah.
then you're happy. Okay?
Yep.
Which is irritating but true.